Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'm really excited to have with me one of the great guitarists of our generation, Joel Hoekstra. We'll talk about his new project with the Echobats, as well as his work with Whitesnake, TSO, Cher, Night Ranger, and more. Joel grew up in Chicago, and I tried to see if I could get him to convert to a New York Knicks fan, and I loved his reaction. You won't want to miss that. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. Now, without further ado, let's get started with my conversation with Joel Hoekstra. All right, hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I'm really super excited to have with me a special guest. You guys know him from Whitesnake, from TSO, from Cher. Maybe you remember him from his time in Night Ranger. He's done the Rock of Ages play. Now he's in the Echobats, one of the busiest men in rock and roll. Please welcome Joel Hoekstra to the show. How you doing, Joel?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So let's just start right with what I just said. You have a new project, the Echobats. For those who maybe don't know about it, explain who's in that band with you.
So Tony Harnell is on vocals, James Lomenzo on bass, Matt Starr on drums, and Eric Levy on keys. It really came about. Matt and Tony spoke first about doing a project, and they contacted me, and we sort of agreed like might be fun to do something that's not just straight ahead hard rock, as we've all done a million hard rock things. So
right, absolutely.
Like the name Queen was batted around as like
an
influence, and maybe atypical song forms, more like Led Zeppelin, where it would just follow an ABC form, that kind of thing. And so we hashed up some ideas for Tony, and this is the first one that he completed, the single that Save Me From Loving You, that's out. People can watch on YouTube. So we're just taking it from there. Just going to gauge the reaction and see where we go from here. But I mean, it's very early stages, but the song is being very well received. It's very exciting.
I think one of the things I've noticed with the various comments online, everybody seems to love it. There's comments that, hey, this is different than what I expected, but it's great. So you guys, it seems like, made a conscious decision not to do like a hard rock song in the vein of Whitesnake or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've already got Whitesnake, obviously.
Right. Yep.
And Joel Hoekstra's 13 for me. My side project is kind of Dio-ish.
Yep.
So on the heavier side, right? And so just, another heavy project, you start becoming the guy where people think that's all you do.
Sure.
And, so I personally have been through a lot in my musical career and played a lot of different styles, and I think all those guys are very versatile musicians, Tony included, especially for a lead singer. So I think we're just looking to do something really song oriented. So for me, it was getting away from the shred thing a bit, not just like trying to show off on guitar or whatever. And just play some cool, like, whatever, a Queen influence style rock, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's very catchy to me. And you released it on Friday. I probably listened to it about 15 times already. I can't get the song out of my head. It is, and to me, one of the things I love is, I think we're both in New York right now. It's been a rough few months for us here, right, with the whole COVID situation. But the song is just so happy. It makes me feel good. Was that a conscious decision you made?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, it just happens to be the first one that Tony completed out of the ideas. So it seems to fit, though. Might be just some magical timing with it being summer and everything, and it seems to be kind of just an uplifting, feel-good song that seems to be connecting with people because they're in need of that right now. Right,
absolutely. Now, and you wrote all the music, if I'm not mistaken, and Tony was.
Yeah,
how did that work?
The way Tony likes to write the lyrics and vocal melodies, so that's the way we decided to do things with this. Is just try and lay down stuff that he can write to, and that's this particular idea just happened to be mine. We worked on some of James Lomenzo's as well, so if we continue to do more down the road, I think people could expect some writing from James and hopefully more from myself and certainly Tony.
Right, and that's one of the things. As soon as I heard this song, I'm like, there has to be more of this. There can't just be one song from these guys. We need more of this. we need more of these songs. So I'm hoping you guys pursue that.
Yeah, I think look, it takes a lot to put out new music. There's a financial investment involved for all of us, and so it gets to the point where it's like, I mean, are we just gonna? It's a losing proposition to try and put out new music nowadays.
Absolutely.
So they need to restructure the streaming situation.
Right.
I mean, I can't say that enough. But,
right.
So it just always kind of comes down to like, look, is this successful? Do people really like it? Is there really? And it can't just be like, a handful of people saying, oh, you guys have to do that again, right?
Of course.
So, yeah, we'll take it from there. But definitely just getting stuff mixed and mastered and making a video and getting that video edited and getting it distributed and advertised. And that all comes from us. So there's a lot of money as artists that goes into just releasing even a single song.
Oh, absolutely.
At least to have it heard properly by the world and have a video and all that stuff. So,
and
we'll take it from there. But I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe we'll just make this like the thing where we release a single now and then and see how they like it.
Well, very cool. And you just mentioned the video. To me, the song is fun. The video maybe even as much or more fun. We're just watching the video. You guys, obviously you're all in your own places. At the end of the video, it says New York, California, London. But the video is still a lot of fun to me. And I hate to say it, your son kind of steals the show a little bit. So, what was it like
he let me know about it. I normally don't post my kids or my family on social media at all. I'm just not that guy. I just want them to grow up as kids and not not be revolving around what people are saying about them on Instagram or anything like that. But I guess with the quarantine situation, and we were together nonstop, and so that was really the first time ever they've heard me say, like, I need to somehow shoot a music video in this apartment. And the initial concept is a little bit more of like a Zoom style thing. So I said, look, you guys can be a part of it if you want. And they were really excited about it, especially my son. And then he loves to, we have him in legitimate piano lessons, learning classical piano, but he's more into pretending that he plays guitar and drums. He's really into air drumming and guitaring and being a rock star. So never mind the fact that he doesn't actually know how to play the guitar in the video. He let me know about it, that people were going to like him more than me. So,
That's great.
So, Dad, people are going to like me in this video more than you because I rocked out harder than you did.
And he did rock out hard, that's for sure. And look, it's great to be at that age that they just have an interest in music. And I have a daughter who's 21, and I remember at that age she was into like Hilary Duff and that type of stuff. And my friends used to say, how can you listen to that? I'm like, I'm not the target audience. I'm just happy she's listening to music. And now she loves all the hard rock stuff. So
yeah, my son skipped over kids music. I mean, he just went straight into, I think he was 2 or 3, and he went through a huge Twisted Sister phase.
Oh,
he was
nice.
D for Halloween.
Oh,
when he was 2 years old. And then he went from that into Van Halen. He got really into Alex Van Halen, so we had to set up the pots and pans.
Oh, no.
Alex. And then, so we just listened to Van Halen all the time. And then we went through and then then it just totally goes away. And then it comes back. And then it was a Kiss phase, a really big Kiss phase.
Yes.
And just recently, Iron Maiden. I went through a big Iron Maiden phase, and now he's into Motley Crue. And so now his latest thing is he's twirling the drumsticks. He's getting the whole Tommy Lee. He's really into Tommy Lee. So he's a piece of work. And then my daughter, of course, is like totally the opposite. Loved all the kids' music, and she loves Frozen. Frozen's music for Frozen 1 and Frozen 2 is going nonstop with her singing it. And so,
I noticed she had like some stuffed animal in the video. I couldn't make out what it was, but it was like some stuffed animal.
Yeah, that's her best friend.
Okay.
With her whole life. So yeah, she's the first thing she did in that video, you can't really see it, but she just ran up and stuck a wad of tape in my hair. So when she's pulling on my hair, she's grinding tape into it on top of it. I thought, really? As soon as I hit record, so she had that planned and really ambushed me. And then my son upstaged me, and all in good fun. But it was, I thought, man, I guess I really asked for that one.
Right. Well, to me, it added to the whole fun, the whole element, and the time that the video's coming out and everybody being home. It just added an element of realness to it, which I really loved.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was really no other choice. I think some of the other footage I shot was in the stairwell of my building, and then just at the end of my block, there's a little monument in a park, and just the top of the song, you catch me doing that. And even when I did that, it opened up and rained on me. Like I was trying to play the music back on my laptop while I shot the video with my phone, and because I couldn't do both on the phone, and I was all by myself, and then the heavens opened up on me. I mean, it was really difficult to be able to even get the footage that we got, which wasn't ideal. Tony had a better situation in London, so he got some cool footage.
He did. Now, I know for Night Ranger fans of yours and fans of Night Ranger, it was cool to see you and Eric back together again, at least in a video and a song like this. So I guess you guys are still talking on friendly terms?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Eric, I mean, he's such a virtuoso. He doesn't necessarily get to showcase all of that in Night Ranger, but those following him on social media hear him just jamming. I mean, he was in a jam band called Garage Mahal out of the Chicago area. I mean, he's just playing with world-class players, and he's just a world-class musician. So, and a super, super nice guy. One of my favorite bandmates of all time. So, when we needed a keyboard player to round out the track, he came to mind. And I mean, we didn't really at that time necessarily know we were going to release a video. It was just like, hey, we just want you to play on this track, want to put this out, and maybe we'll shoot a Zoom video. And it kind of became a little more serious as we went. So now it's like, hey, you guys are in a band together? It's like, well, it's a project. We'll see. And the word band might be a little bit strong right now, but you never know. You never know where it'll lead.
Right. Well, all of you guys, especially yourself, when I did the introduction, I rattled off the 1,000 different things that you do, right? You're a very busy person, so I wouldn't imagine that these guys, the Echobats, would perform live, but I would love to see it based on the one song. But right now it sounds like it's one song, maybe a few others, and who knows where it leads in the future.
I mean, a lot of that has to do with Tony and how he feels about like how things went with this. And I mean, he's a great vocalist and a really great writer, so I'm certainly open to it, as long as my whole thing is like I'll just keep working as long as it doesn't interfere with my main jobs, which Whitesnake and TSO are obviously my priorities at the moment. So as long as it doesn't get in the way of those, then the more the merrier. I'd rather keep working on real music and not just like practicing scales or whatever.
Sure, makes sense. Now you just mentioned Whitesnake, so you've been in Whitesnake now for what? It's like 6 years or so, right?
6 years, yeah.
So growing up, you just mentioned all the bands your son's listening to. Growing up as a child, what bands were you listening to? Were you listening to Whitesnake? And right, because you grew up in the 70s, 80s time period as a kid, right?
Yeah, started out really like metal, pretty much. Straight up like metal, hard rock. I got really into AC/DC, and that's what got me going. And then Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Iron Maiden, Scorpions. That was pretty much my favorites starting out, and then gradually got into bands that were a little more melodic, Journey, Foreigner, Boston, and certainly Rush was a big one for me. Queensryche, I throw in that progressive lot. I love the Trevor Rabin era Yes stuff. Most people think that's not cool. They like, you're supposed to say like the Steve Howe era, but I love the Trevor Rabin stuff. So yes, definitely 70s like classic rock stuff. Floyd, Zeppelin, that stuff was all big with me. 60s stuff, even, the Doors, definitely like them. Hendrix. So yeah, I mean, just it's not so much like the guitar players, although the guitar albums were definitely a big part of it too. All that stuff broke when I was a younger guy playing guitar, so that was good for me to I guess forge that competitive era of guitar playing. The Yngwie and Steve Vai and Satriani and Steve Morse and all those guys had a big influence on me in terms of getting my chops together and versatility. Like somebody like Steve Morse, all the different styles that Steve can play. All that stuff definitely played a role.
Right, absolutely. So now I know this summer you guys were supposed to be on tour with The Circle and Night Ranger, which I think for you probably would have been cool to see the Night Ranger guys again after all these years. Unfortunately, obviously COVID happened, the tour was canceled, but I think you guys had to pull out beforehand because David was having a hernia surgery or something like that. So how's he doing and how's the band doing?
Yeah, I mean, we're in touch all the time. We're texting and just kind of keeping our energies connected, so to speak. And David's great. I mean, it's always about the laughs.
Right.
Just very much like his Twitter feed, those that haven't visited DC on there. I mean, he's so much more about the laughs than you'd ever imagine.
Okay.
But yeah, really great. I mean, I think David's doing great. We're all just seeing what we're going to be looking at when we're able to get back out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Any talk about trying to write and record some new material during this time?
Not really. I mean, he's right now. I think David's focusing on promoting the Rock album, which is a compilation album that is just out on Rhino that I'm proud to be a part of. There's one new track on there that I co-wrote with David called "Always the Same," and then there's a handful of songs, maybe 4 or 5 that were slated for the re-release of "Restless Heart" that got included on this, and that really involved me doubling Adrian Vandenberg, really super tight with a Les Paul for the most part, and maybe adding an overdub here or there.
Okay.
I think that album was initially intended to be David Coverdale's solo album.
Okay.
So they didn't go with that Les Paul sound that David loves for Whitesnake. So that was always something in David's vision, at least as he conveyed to me, that he always regretted a bit that it didn't have the Les Paul sound so heavy on that record. So for the remix, I had to kind of go back and double Adrian and blend it in. And it was great fun, and I felt great to kind of be a modern day cyber guitar team with Adrian. Even though, and I know it doesn't really count, but kind of fun for me to.
Oh, absolutely. Now, are there any songs, be it Whitesnake, Night Ranger, any of the projects you've been involved in, that as a guitar player that you found maybe more challenging to learn the parts than you maybe initially expected when you first joined the band?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think music for me is always a challenge. Just my mindset is always playing all of it the best I can, and sometimes even the simple stuff, people take that for granted, but you're focusing on pocket and time, and really a lot of times the players that overlook that stuff fall short a lot of times. So sometimes it's just playing like rhythm guitar with the best time possible, and then of course there's the aspect of being entertaining on stage and all that stuff, and not letting that screw that up, so to speak. I'll save you the F word. But it can definitely mess with your musicality. Performing on stage, your time can tend to shift all over the place. Certainly easier to sit down and stare at your guitar and really concentrate and listen than it is to put on a visual show and do the same. So try to find the balance of that.
I'm a big Kiss fan. I've spoke with Bruce Kulick, and I remember him saying that exact thing when he joined Kiss. It was so hard to have that stage presence and do that whole stage show and also play great guitar at the same time, and yet it was that balance, exactly like you just said. So definitely.
Making sure to execute the stuff cleanly.
Exactly. So before you mentioned the new song that you just had with David Coverdale, on the last album you had, I think it's 7 co-writes on the album. So what is it like writing for Whitesnake and writing with David Coverdale compared to, like you said, your solo stuff and some of the other things you worked on in the past?
Well, most of the stuff starts with David, and then you kind of round it out or take them. You say, where would you go from there? That was how we found the most success in terms of co-writing stuff together. So really pretty easy. David works really quickly and really instinctively, intuitively, whatever is the proper term. And so you just try to come up with the best idea right on the spot. But again, we've known each other now for a while, so it's not like I hopped right into the band and we had to write an album together, barely knowing each other. We'd known each other for 3-4 years at that point. So I felt pretty relaxed about it. Just do the best you can and hope for the best. But David's great about making people feel comfortable and also just being like truthful. So if there's something you play where it's not it, he doesn't waste your time and go like, maybe. He'll just say, no, not that, something else, and try something else. And but we did really well. I'd say to get to that level of getting that much input on a Whitesnake album, I'm very honored.
Oh, absolutely. How does the songwriting process in Whitesnake differ than when you were in Night Ranger, let's just say?
I would say David, I got more involvement with Whitesnake. I would say that David having me involved on over half the tracks was more than Night Ranger, where I would get maybe like two or three on the album. Right? So we could start with that. But the ones with Night Ranger usually were like a full band collaboration. like Follow Your Heart. I remember we just kind of put together all in the room together.
Okay.
And then there was songs like I'm Coming Home on High Road that I wrote with Brad pretty much. Like we put together the music, and then Jack and Kelly wrote the words and the lyrics. So that one I had more to do with. But in general, I mean, I was blessed to be involved with 2 or 3 with Night Ranger too. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
It's like I'm not complaining. It's
no,
like,
I didn't think you were.
Any of this stuff is like I respect any of these bands with their what their vision is for from my level of input on a brand that they've worked on for years, right? I mean, Night Ranger's 35 years in the making.
Absolutely, right.
So, yeah, I mean, who the hell would I be to come in and be like, I need to be the co-writer on all the stuff, and same with Whitesnake. So yeah, I'm always glad whatever these guys want to allow me to have input on I'm always honored.
And to me, with the Night Ranger stuff, you were part of what I consider like their big comeback album, Somewhere in California. The first few albums before that, to me, they lost a little bit of their classic Night Ranger sound. And when I heard Somewhere in California, and especially the lead single there, I was like, yes, that's the sound. And so to me, it was like an exciting time to be a Night Ranger fan.
I think there was something about that time period. I mean, I can't really take credit for that, but I will say that time when I joined Night Ranger, right about like 2008, was when people finally started to really let go of wanting to sound current, and they just went, F it.
Right.
People want us the way we were in 1984.
Yep, absolutely.
So I think that just was the time period and the way people were looking at writing. And so I was lucky to be a part of Night Ranger at that time when everybody kind of understood that. And I remember having the discussion with Jack Blades and saying, people picture you with the orange hammer bass.
Right, exactly.
That's when you picture Jack Blades in your mind, that's what you picture. And I told Brad Gillis, you should never be playing anything else other than that red Strat.
Absolutely.
When you picture Brad Gillis, like
it's the red Strat. I see that guitar, I think of Brad instantly.
It's the red Strat. I said that's what people want. They want to see you guys playing those instruments and have that kind of vibe. So I mean, I did understand that, and those guys understood that too at that time. And I think we all just kind of collectively wrapped our heads around that. And there was a lot of positivity in the band at that point, with myself and Eric being really excited, and things were really picking up with Night Ranger. So I think they were excited, and there was just a lot of positivity. So we stumbled onto some good energy with Somewhere in California, I think.
Absolutely. Now, to me, you've been very fortunate, both Night Ranger and Whitesnake, to work in bands with 2 lead guitarists, 2 great guitar players. How does that dynamic is that something you prefer, to be in a band with like 2 lead guitar or two guitar players? I
guess so. I'm certainly not the kind that wants to like play every lead. So I've never really been that guy. Most of the bands I've been in my life have been more than one guitar player. I'd be open-minded to doing one with one guitar, but yeah, it works fine. I mean, Brad and I, in my time in Night Ranger, I mean, we were like, we made the 1980s happen again, man.
Right.
I mean, I had a whole lot of fun with him, and musically and just hanging out. I mean, he was my best buddy during that time period in particular, and we're still friends. We still keep in touch, but. Red Beach, really, I mean, just the same. And we have a fantastic time, lots of laughs, and he's such a good musician. They're totally different players than each other, but they're similar in that they each have very unique styles that stand out, and they're very identifiable players.
Sure. Makes sense. I agree. Now, I noticed one of the things you like to do, it seems like a lot online, I see you doing a lot of these master classes, and you joke that, they're using that term loosely, right? But you do the master classes, you're doing the videos where you show the solos and how you play the solos from the Whitesnake album. Is the teaching aspect, is that something you enjoy doing?
Well, when I was younger, that definitely paid the bills for me.
Yep.
From 1992 or 3 all the way to 2001, when I moved out here to New York. That was the bulk of my income. I had 70 students a week, and then used to supplement that with gigs. I mean, it was like, hey, now I got a show this night, I got to take off, but I wasn't playing like nonstop like I've been since I came to New York, where that really was the beginning of my, I guess, performing career full time and barely teaching. But just now that this particular situation, now that touring's off, I'm teaching a lot of Skype lessons here, one-on-one, teaching the master classes like you talked about for Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, which, there's something about that term, that master class. Like, I mean, what am I, the master of guitar? No. I mean, it sounds a little self-important for me to say that.
Okay.
So, but whatever, that's their title. We'll give them that. And then doing one for Rock Stars of Tomorrow coming up in early August, and then doing one for beginners and intermediate students later in August for Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, which is also cool because, I mean, when it comes to teaching, I got really good at teaching beginners during that time when I did so much of that. 70 a week, and a lot of them were total beginners. So I got really good at kind of taking them and getting them going quickly. And so I'm looking forward to that again. And every scenario has its unique challenges and fun to it. So for me, that's cool too. It doesn't have to be an hour of me just showing off on guitar or whatever for people that are good players in their own right.
Right. Well, you know, that's one of the things to me. So you came on my radar during the Night Ranger time period first. And I was like, oh, you know, that guy sounds really good in the band. Great guy to replace Jeff Watson. But where I became a Joel fan was when you were on that metal show with Eddie Trunk. And if you remember that, you were like up on like a stage in the audience. And every time they went out to a commercial, they'd say, hey, you know, play us out. And you did, you know, of course, some of the shred, the lead guitar type stuff. But then you took out an acoustic guitar. And forgive me, I'm not a guitar player, even though I have them hanging on the wall. But you took out another guitar that just sounded like different. I'm like, damn, this guy's got great feel, great style. And that's where I became a fan of yours, is through that metal show, actually.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, that was really great of Eddie to have me on there. He's been a big supporter. And I did it twice. Once when I was in Night Ranger, and I brought the acoustic on, and the sitar style guitar is the other one you're referring to. Yep. And I would say Eddie probably preferred just straight up electric. So the next time I went back, I use that as an excuse to say, well, then have me back and have me just do all electric stuff. So when I got the Whitesnake gig, it was enough to talk about again to have me on and do it again. So, but that was great. And those clips, honestly, the ones from when I was in Night Ranger, helped me to get the Whitesnake gig. I think David seeing me on there and doing that stuff helped me at least get an audition.
Right. That's interesting. And, you know, I totally get that Eddie might like the electric stuff better. That's all cool. But it was when you did that acoustic thing, to me, I actually started Googling like other things you did. And I don't remember the exact time period, but it was right around that time period. I think you did a great acoustic version of the Poison song, Every Rose Has Its Thorn, which to me was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So I'm glad you kind of branch into that acoustic stuff.
Oh, thanks so much, man. Yeah, I had put that together, I think, for my Monsters of Rock cruise set that I do every year, the Hangover Jam, it's called, and just looking for stuff to play. And I thought, well, that'd be a recognizable song to put together a chord melody version of. So, acoustic is a big part of my playing because I definitely took classical guitar very seriously for at least a few years in there. I went to 2 years of college for it. So I was playing more of that than I was electric at that point. So it's definitely a big part of my musical background. So I enjoy playing it. Someday I could envision maybe selling all my gear and then just having like one acoustic and being a poor man's Tommy Emmanuel.
Nice.
I don't think I'd ever rise to his heights in terms of playing ability, but it'd be nice to achieve some percentage of it.
Right. Now, I've seen other acoustic things you've done online. I think you did the Ozzy or Randy Rhoads song D, which you did incredible version. And more recently, you've done like, I think it's the Star Spangled Banner. I think during the holidays, you did Silent Night. I think, if I'm not mistaken, a while back, you put out an acoustic CD. Would you ever think of doing something like that again?
Probably not at the time right now, because my focus right now is getting this follow-up Joel Hoekstra's 13 album out, which is my rock side project, I call it. And that just sounds very much like a band.
Sure.
And got another one of those coming out where I get to, during those, basically write everything, write the riffs and write the words and write the vocal melodies. And so that's exciting for me to just have the opportunity to get to do all of the writing and the producing. And so I'm focused more on getting that out for the time being. But like I said, there's always that vision of the guy who's sold it all and owns one acoustic, and who knows what'll happen at that time. Yeah.
So I'm glad you just brought up the follow-up to your last solo record. Would you consider, because I've heard you do harmonies and background vocals and other things, would you consider singing a lead vocal on your album?
Not when I can have Russell Allen on there, or Jeff Scott Soto
right.
as well. So, I mean, I always look at it like I would rather have the album be great and have a great singer than have me do like an okay job and have the album get compromised. I mean, you know, I've got my things that I like to sing, and I can kind of scream out some AC/DC and definitely belt out some Jim Morrison type stuff, or that kind of stuff. And I can sing enough to write and give people guide vocals. Like with the Joel Hoekstra's 13 album, I sing the whole album really, really poorly for Russell to listen to with what's called a guide vocal in the business. So yeah. Right. So he can just click on it and listen to the song and then just sing a much better version of it than me. So.
Well, I have a feeling you're probably selling yourself a little short, because I saw online an acoustic version of the Whitesnake song "Is This Love," and you're doing the harmonies on it, and I'm like, damn, you're a good singer also on top of a good guitar player. So you're probably selling yourself a little short.
I mean, I would say I'm like an okay singer. So
that's
I got a long way to go. That has never come easy to me, the singing thing.
Okay, fair enough. I know growing up in the 80s, I listened to a lot of the same bands that you rattled off before, but my friends were always, I say some of them made fun of me, because I also listened to Survivor. I also listened to Madonna. I always loved pop music, right? So I was always drawn to that as well. So for you, I love that you're in the hard rock bands, but then you also have the Cher thing going on. What is that like for you, going from playing hard rock music to playing with a musical icon? I mean, Cher, everybody knows Cher, right?
Yeah, I mean, that obviously a total blessing to be able to play, like you said, play with an iconic star and have the opportunity to play different styles of music. I dig that. I definitely do, because I went through learning to play a lot of different styles. So sometimes it can be like, you know, well, am I ever going to have the opportunity to play different styles again? So the Cher gig was actually perfect for that, because it really spanned a lot of generations. She made music for so many generations that there's a great variety of guitar playing in her set. So yeah, I mean, nothing but good things to say. What an opportunity.
And what is she like as a person, right? Everybody knows the persona in public. What is she like? Very
nice and kind of quiet.
Really?
You know, just sweet. Very nice. Yeah. Not, I don't know how to put it, but yeah, I mean, just, she's always treated me very, very nicely, lots of respect, and, but also just very professional. So you're just kind of, you have your circle beforehand, like most bands do. And that's pretty much where you interact with her right there. It's not like, you know, I'm going to wake up in the morning and say, hey, Cher, you want to go have some coffee? So obviously, like that level of interaction is no, but very, very, you know, super professional and nice and cool.
When you think about it, right? So on the pop side, you've worked with Cher. There's really no bigger pop star than that. On the rock side, you've worked with David Coverdale, Hall of Fame rock and roll guy. It's pretty cool, right? When you probably look back on this, I know more recently you were going through some of your tapes from when you were a kid, like and trying to digitize them. Do you ever look back and hear those recordings and say, "Wow, I've come a long way since the mid '80s"?
Yeah, it was, as they say in Spinal Tap, a little bit too much perspective when I went back and listened to that stuff. I kind of thought, man, how did nobody ever step in and have an intervention and say, dude, this isn't going to work out for you? It was also interesting to kind of hear the progression. As you, so even though I didn't maybe see it at the time, but it was like there was a difference from stuff I was working on in, let me think about what years we're talking about here, 1990 or 1989 versus 1990 versus 1991. I had all these 4-track demos. I used to just over and over record songs on my 4-track. So it was interesting to kind of chart the progress of all that, which was definitely there, and funny to listen back to some of my old bands. I have my very first band in the studio where I'm 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And again, music that I wrote at the time.
Oh, cool.
We were, god awful. Just awful. Just I was not, there was not a story of like, boy, at 15, he was just as amazing as he is now for me. It eluded me. I think I was working my way up to it, but we weren't too happening, dude.
So it sounds like there won't be the Joel Hoekstra box set coming out anytime soon.
I put up some of the stuff. I think I put up some demos from 1998 or whatever, just some kind of instrumental stuff, and I think the singer from my band around right maybe a little bit before that, 1994 or 5 or something like that, posted our cassette demo online. Black Bison, it's called. It's on YouTube. I should probably post it as well. Which is, there's some cool stuff on that.
Okay.
It's hit and miss. We posted our 4-song EP, so people can check that out.
Yeah, I missed that. I'll have to check that out.
But there's my 4-track stuff. I could. It's like sonically embarrassing. I was playing through just a Roland GP8 processor on most of it, so my tone sounds like a bumblebee.
Oh, no.
All drum machine. It was all just kind of me doing the drum programming. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it just seems a little kind of like, I don't know if I'm necessarily, you always want to show yourself in the best light. It's a little like posting horrible pictures of yourself, right?
But to me, it's cool to see where you came from to where you are now. And I think that's a cool story.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm always grateful for the journey. I just don't know if necessarily I'd want to promote some of the stops along the way.
Fair enough. Now, what about TSO, right? Is another one of your major projects that you work with. Any word if there's going to be a tour this year? Obviously, the touring industry is up in the air still right now. Any word?
Yeah, I mean, I guess logic would say, I have no inside info, so let me just preface it with that. There's no, but logic would say we're probably not going to do it, I would think, but fingers are crossed. I mean, hopefully that would be amazing. I mean, it would be disappointing on many levels. That gig is so steeped in tradition. Just to have it be that holiday experience that every year you can count on. So it would be extra heartbreaking. I mean, not that it's heartbreaking to lose the year of Whitesnake touring as well, certainly, but it would be heartbreaking with the TSO thing, just off of that element of tradition that it's about.
And what is it like for you to be part of a whole huge production like that? I always say it makes Kiss look like they're a club band with no pyro and no stage show at all. What is it like?
Yeah, I mean, once again, just lucky to be there at the end of the day. I mean, to have the opportunity to go out and play music I enjoy playing on a giant stage for 10,000 people, 2 shows a day. I mean, who's filling an arena twice a day?
Right, exactly.
I mean, these days. So it's a remarkable opportunity for me. I love all the guys in the band. I've been with them 10 years now, so you grow close. That's a long time to be a part of a band and know everybody. So, and that includes really a lot of the fans. We have the signing line, open signing lines after the evening shows. So just got to know a lot of people connected with that particular gig, so to speak. Just across the board, there's a lot of friends there. So it's definitely a phenomenal experience for me to be a part of. I'm very grateful for it.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned before also the Monsters of Rock cruises. How are those for you? It gives you a little bit of time to showcase yourself, right? How do you like those cruises?
Yeah, again, that's built into a tradition of its own right there. I mean, I think first one I went on with Night Ranger, and I don't even know what year it was.
2013, Kiss Cruise 3. I was there.
No, but that was Kiss Cruise. This was, I'm talking Monsters of Rock.
Okay, sorry.
So I don't even know, but I just remember we played, and then I was hungover the next morning, and I thought, all right, I'm just going to go up on deck with this acoustic that's in my room or cabin, and go up on deck and just play. And some of that stuff off of my acoustic album. And they ended up plugging me in while John Corabi was renewing couples' vows. It's a very bizarre scenario to look back on. But the next year, Larry Moran, who runs the cruise, who's a good friend and awesome guy, was like, hey, we'd love to have you back on. And I thought, well, what am I going to do, dude? Night Ranger's not doing it this year. And he said, well, why don't you come on and do some of that acoustic stuff you were doing? And so I thought, well, how can I how can I pitch this in a way that people aren't going to throw stuff at me if I'm playing mellow acoustic on a hard rock cruise, right? So I thought, how about we do like a morning thing? I'll give away free Bloody Marys, and we'll just get everybody started the right way. I'll get everybody drunk at 10 in the morning and play mellow acoustic for everybody. So that's how it started, and that's called the Hangover Jam. And as the years have gone by, there's a lot of people who are on the cruise, singers who I'll have up, and we'll actually sing some rock stuff. I sing a little rock stuff. During it, and then there's been 2 times now where Russell Allen has come on and really sung basically over half the set with me. Right. But they've been great fun, and that's really turned into a whole thing. I mean, nowadays when I get ready to go on the Monsters of Rock cruise, they know, okay, Joel doesn't want a rider. The only thing he wants is free Bloody Marys during his set. So they just set it up, and I just get everybody drunk. And it used to be, when I started this, that it was just a very small crowd, and now it's a big crowd at these. So it's pretty amazing. A lot of people get themselves out of bed early just so they can come up and get the free Bloody Marys.
That's very funny.
But it's turned into a tradition there, and now we're working on this basketball thing becoming the next tradition there as well, and that's really been fun. We've had 2 years in a row of the Rockers versus the Cruisers.
Right.
I love that element of tradition on it, and Larry's a good guy. He's down with that too.
And it seems like you enjoy just, I'll say, mingling with the fans and that aspect. I remember one year seeing pictures of you being, I think, helicoptered into the ocean to join the festivities on the island.
Night Ranger had booked 2 shows down in Florida the first 2 days of the cruise. And so at first I was like, man, I guess I got to tell Larry, like, I can't do the cruise this year, because I was like, well, the 3rd day it's at a resort island that you can't fly into, so it's not like I could take a flight the next morning after the Night Ranger gig there. But then I thought, there's got to be some way. What about a boat? What about a helicopter? And sure enough, man, they had a little helicopter option out of the Bahamas to be able to go to this resort island. So I flew to Nassau and then took the helicopter there to be able to make the cruise and still be a part of it. And just for theatrics, because I had flown early that morning and then took this awesome, incredible helicopter ride over the Caribbean, however you want to say. But, as I got close, we basically just arranged so that I could jump out into the water, and it was awesome. I look at stuff like that as like lifetime memories. Like you can say you did it, right? Jumped out and into the water, which felt amazing after getting up at 4 a.m. or whatever to fly.
Right, absolutely.
To get over there, so yeah. Good memories.
Absolutely. Now, what about, I mentioned before the Kiss Cruise that I was on Kiss Cruise 3 where Night Ranger was there. Was that the first rock cruise that you had done?
No, that was, I had done Monsters of Rock already, a time or two. So the Kiss Cruise happened, I think, after 2 Monsters of Rock, or maybe 3. Okay. But yeah, also great to be there. That was Doc McGee just always has his axe on there, which at the time, Jack's son James Blades was working at the McGee office, so we were technically managed by Doc, and that got us the gig.
Absolutely. I remember during that cruise, you were just like hanging out up on the pool deck. I actually was able to meet you, take a picture with my kids and you were just so cool with all the fans, just like kind of mingling and talking to people. It was something that left an impression on me, like, hey, here's a guy, it's a Night Ranger. And most of the bands kind of shied away from hanging out. You were just up on the pool deck, hanging out like you just one of the guys. Yeah,
I guess that's, it's probably just that, who knows why that is, but it is. I do notice that, and it's probably just because I struggled for so long to have my career take off at all. So sometimes that allows me to maybe be a little more grateful for the opportunities, and who knows? I mean, in the early going, probably because I was partying just as hard as anybody on the cruise. But nowadays, I don't really do that anymore. So I just, I think I would say it's more just like grateful that people are there to support you and even give a shit, right? At the end of the day, any of these retro acts, we're all lucky that anybody even still gives a shit, right? I think that's the truth of it, right?
Well, I'll share with you. When I walked up to you and I knew who you are, I said, "Hey, Joel, do you mind if I take a picture?" He's like, "Your exact words to me were, do you know who I am?" I said, of course I know who you are. You're the guitar player in Night Ranger. He's like, okay, come on, let's take a picture. But I think you were like surprised even still at that moment, like that people wanted to come up and take a picture with you. Like that's the impression I got. Like, you were like, wow, somebody wants to take a picture with me.
That's probably true. I'd probably probably like, okay, wait a minute. But yeah, I mean, I'm still that way. I still feel grateful when people care enough to be excited about meeting me. It's always like, really? Like you're, okay, cool, awesome.
Right.
It always feels good. That just having a level of support from people is awesome. To be able to make a living playing guitar and have people that care, that's great.
Absolutely. So you grew up a kid in Chicago. I don't think you were born there, but that's where you grew up, if I'm not mistaken, right? How does a kid from Chicago make it into all of these incredible bands? What do you think was the key to your success?
I would say just hard work. Definitely just working really hard over the years and just not giving up, I would say. But at the same time, I was never necessarily about like fame or money. It was just about like, this is what I want to do for a living, and I'm just going to work hard at it and let the money come. Was more of my mindset, I would say. And that's, in the end, I guess, paid off, because then you don't burn out when shit's not working immediately.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Like, hey, I'm still struggling. And so, I mean, I say all the time to people, like, there was tough times, but I didn't know they were tough, right? I look back on them and go, wow, I was going through some tough times then. I just didn't know it.
You just didn't realize, right?
I just was happy. Like, I didn't care.
So how long have you been in New York now?
Since January of 2001. So, yeah, I'm coming up on 20 years here.
Okay, so I've been in New York for almost 50 years. Any chance that one day that jersey will change from Bulls to Knicks?
No way. Dude, no way. I mean, the Bulls suck right now, but the Knicks suck just as bad, if not worse. And I could never let go of all the stuff that happened during the rivalry, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but some of the best games I've ever watched, man. You go back and watch that 92, the year before the Knicks were really supposed to take the Bulls out, where they took them to 7 games, man. That game 7 was something else.
Yes, absolutely.
I see that's on YouTube, and I'll still go back and watch that and go, that's as good as it gets, man.
Absolutely, yep.
The Jordan head against McDaniel.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, man, that's stuff that just still, you get chills off of just how much teams wanted it back then.
Absolutely.
You just don't see that now.
No, look, I remember growing up from the New York point of view. Obviously, Michael Jordan, in my opinion, was the best basketball player of all time. Certainly most clutch of all time. But Patrick Ewing, every year from the New York side, this is the year, and then it never happened. Oh, this is the year, and I felt so bad for him. He's like, always, he believed so strongly.
Well, there's a lot of great players from that era that as soon as Michael was able to get over the hump and over the bad boys, which, I mean, if they weren't there, then you're probably talking more like 8 or 9 titles. And if the retirement hadn't happened, then, there's no telling.
Right, absolutely.
The first retirement. But there was a lot of great players that didn't get their championships because of Michael. That were, I mean, really, Charles Barkley was phenomenal, and John Stockton was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
He's just underrated because he was short and white, but I mean, he's the all-time assist leader, the all-time steals leader. What more do we need to say?
Right, absolutely.
And Karl Malone, number 2 all-time in scoring, and maybe number 3 now. I don't know if he. But anyway. Point is like you got these Hall of Fame guys that didn't get their rings because Michael was in the way at the time. So yeah, I mean Ewing definitely on the list. So at least he's in good company.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So I noticed in the Echobats video that your son was wearing a Yankees T-shirt. You okay with that?
Yeah, totally. Okay. I mean, I had delusions of grandeur, maybe thinking he'd be a Cubs fan. I dressed him up in the Cubs gear when he was a little baby and stuff, and he likes them a little bit. He likes Anthony Rizzo, which is cool because Rizzo probably is my favorite Cub. So so that's cool. But no, man, I mean he's a New York kid. He's supposed to root for the Yankees, right?
Right, absolutely.
So no, I don't have any problems with that.
Cool enough. So here, serious question. Which pizza is better, deep dish Chicago or New York style?
Two different things, man. Apples and oranges.
Okay.
You can't really. I mean, some of the deep dish Chicago stuff is like amazing, but there's times where I have a Ray's nearby that I order from that most people say a Ray's, but it's the shit, man. I mean, I'll eat it and just go, that's pretty much, that's right there what I want for my last meal if I was on death row or whatever, and they said, you got one more meal, I'd say, all right. But I don't know, man, you look at some of the Chicago stuff, it's very strong, very strong.
Absolutely.
Hard to vote either way for me.
No. Fair enough. I grew up in Brooklyn, and I would take subway rides into Manhattan to, I think it was West 11th Street, if I remember right. Ray's was right on the corner over there, and that was the pizza. I'd literally take a 1-hour train ride for a slice of pizza.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I moved to the New York area, at first I was in Hoboken, Jersey for like a month or two, and they have this place, Benny Tadino's there in Washington, and I would get off the PATH train and get, I think the first time I ordered from Benny Tadino's, I went, holy shit, this is amazing. I mean, I just was like, I get the whole New York pizza thing now. I understand it. So it didn't take me long to grasp how awesome it was. You know?
Sure.
They're both great, man.
Sure. So if you, kind of closing this up, so if you could only choose, if you only were able to play in one band, right? Because I don't know how you manage it with all the tours between Whitesnake, Cher, I don't know how you do it, but if you had to choose only one, are you able to?
No, just to have the opportunity to play is what I would have to say at the end of the day. So, I mean, I'm honored to have any of the opportunities, man. So that would be unfair for me to prioritize or say, but you know, certainly for me at the moment, it's having the Whitesnake and Trans-Siberian Orchestra going on, and being a part of both of those is very important to me.
Awesome. Well, like we started off here, I think the Echobats single is absolutely great. I love it. I encourage people to check it out on YouTube. Download it on where can I download the song?
You can go to Amazon or Apple Music.
Okay.
It's on both of those, and they can stream it as well. And certainly go to YouTube and watch the video. And Classic Rock has it up for track of the week right now.
Awesome.
You can go online and vote. I'm going to post later today on my social media about that, but that would be cool for us to get that little feather in the cap, I think, out of this fun little moment. Yeah,
well, it's well deserved. It's a great song. It's a fun song. It's a happy song. To me, it's what the world needs right now. So thank you for that.
Cool. Thanks, brother.
Awesome. Well,
appreciate it.
Thank you, Joel. I appreciate the chat today. Anything else you wanted to mention before we wrap up here?
No, I mean, I feel like we covered it.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Joel. Take it easy.
Likewise, brother. Have a good day.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye. Alrighty, there you have it. I'd like to take a moment and thank Joel for spending nearly an hour with me to talk about everything that he's involved in. I had a great chat, Joel, and I really appreciated it. Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, check those links below the video and check out the Echobats song, Save Me From Loving You. In my opinion, it's one of the best songs I've heard in the last 5 to 10 years, easily. Also, if you're listening on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Till next time, see you later.